Lowdown, we're sitting down with the University admissions to talk about how COVID-19 has impacted their process. We'll talk with the student from the Mule Skinner and learn more about the University Museum's latest display. All this and more coming up next. This evening as we continue to dive into all the cool things happening here at UCM. Speaking of, let's find out how the pandemic has affected the way students get to experience our university with Chris Lang from University Admissions. Take a look. Hello, I'm here with Chris Lang to talk about UCM Admissions. Can you tell us a little what you do at Admissions?
Yes. So my title is Associate Director of Admissions, and so within my kind of tasks, I oversee our freshman and transfer recruitment teams, so the individuals that go out to the various high schools, community colleges, college fairs that work with the incoming freshmen and incoming transfer students, kind of with helping them through the admissions process, talking to them a little bit about UCM, answering their questions that they have, both students and parents, just kind of seeing if UCM is a good fit for them. But then on the other side, I also help oversee our on-campus events, recruitment events, as well as freshman orientation and kind of that enrollment process. So I oversee that team as well, so kind of keeps us busy all throughout the year.
Has that changed any since the pandemic started?
It has. So a lot of so this fall, kind of in the recruitment world, we call it travel season, fall travel season. And so with that, typically about this week, actually, after Labor Day, we always send our admissions reps out on the road. They start visiting various high schools. They'll usually visit 3 to 4 high schools a day, 3 to 4 days a week. So they visit a lot of different schools, and so they're out on the road, rental car, the whole 9 yards, gone for pretty much till middle of November. So obviously with the pandemic and everything, that's changed how we've been able to do those things. So my admissions reps have not been able to travel at all. So to kind of counteract that and to still make us available for students, a lot of the high schools have gone to virtual college fairs. We actually had our one of our first virtual college fairs last night for the Kansas City area for some of the private schools out there. And so students can kind of jump on, and our admissions reps are there virtually to answer any kind of questions that they have. Students can kind of jump in and out, ask whatever questions they have. Parents can jump in too if it's an evening fair a lot of the times. And so since we don't have that opportunity to meet with students face-to-face in the high schools and in the community colleges as much, we have adopted a lot more virtual options for students to do outreach to. So each one of my admissions reps has time set aside every week, and we have like a recurring Zoom meeting that gets set up so students can jump on with them pretty much at any point in time, ask them questions. They can jump on there, and if they have 30 minutes worth of questions, they can talk to them for 30 minutes, or if they just have, one questions about, hey, how do I submit my application fee, they can jump in, get that question answered, and then jump off here real quick. And we've also changed kind of our outreach plan a little bit, so we're reaching out to students in various different kind of ways a little bit more than we've had the opportunity to in the past, because they're not out traveling, so they're in the office. They have a little bit more opportunity to do more outreach, and so it's changed quite a bit. This is the first fall travel season that we've not been able to go out and travel. So it's been unique, the challenges that we've had to kind of switch up on the fly. Seems like it changes just about every single day on what we can and can't do. Some schools are not allowing virtual visits. So again, it's kind of a fly-by night kind of thing, to where things might change tomorrow and everything like that. But so really the biggest changes, we've had to go a lot more virtual with our recruitment events, on-campus visits and stuff like that. A lot of those have been pushed into a virtual environment now.
So can you talk to us specifically about like the campus tours? Are they all online? Are students still able to like see like a walkthrough of campus and get that experience?
Yes, so we do have virtual options for students that we have some virtual options that students out of state. So we've had virtual visits where We've had individuals from like the state of California, Texas. We get a lot of virtual visitors from those two states, as well as anybody that just doesn't feel comfortable coming down to campus. But we do still offer in-person visits every single day. We have a morning presentation time and an afternoon presentation time. So we've limited that quite a bit. So we're not able to bring nearly as many students to campus and their families, just because we want to make sure that we're keeping a safe environment with 6 feet, social distancing, but still being able to provide that on-campus visit experience. So we've altered that a little bit, but we're still doing the in-person visits. The big kind of event style days that we typically do, so like our Discover Central days and those have been moved to a remote, like a virtual experience here for the fall. And then the spring is kind of a lot of schools, and us are included, are kind of waiting to see kind of how things look out in the spring for like an admitted senior day or orientation next summer. So we're hopeful that we can have those events in person, but you know, we're kind of also planning, you know, just in case we need to have a virtual environment for those as well.
Have you still been able to work on campus, or do you go remotely now?
So I've been working on campus since we came back kind of in around June. We've been working on campus just because we have been offering those in-person visit options. We obviously need to have staff here that can help manage those. So we've been working on campus since we've come back in come back in June, I'm sorry.
So can you tell us about the precautions you've been taking in the workplace for?
Absolutely. So all of our meetings, even in office meetings, so if I need to meet with my team, my reps, my campus visit side, it's all virtual now, so that we're all in our own offices kind of away, and we can have those virtual meetings. If there is a meeting that we need to be face-to-face, we have our big conference room that we use that kind of allows us to all space out, obviously. The mask mandates, everybody has a mask on in our office, and because we have a lot of students coming from off campus and their families, every single room that we use gets deep cleaned every single evening after we get done using them. Same kind of procedures that they're using for classes and stuff. And we've tried to transition into as much of a virtual office kind of environment as we can. So again, less in-person meetings and more of the virtual side. But we have all different hand sanitizers. We're limiting the number of individuals that can be in our lobby. So just trying to be as cautious as we can with students that are coming to campus. But at the same time, we also want to try to give students the best kind of opportunity to see campus in this current environment, so that students can come down, kind of get a feel for what campus is like, see the offices, see the different buildings, go on the campus tour and everything like that, but still making sure that we're doing that in a safe way.
Okay, can you give us the most up-to-date plan you have for this upcoming semester?
So this upcoming semester, kind of it's going to be a lot of virtual stuff. So the recruitment events are mainly going to be virtual. My admissions reps are going to be virtual, meeting with students in high schools and everything. And so that's kind of the immediate plan that we have. And then we're also planning on a little bit more of the virtual events where students can kind of join in, not to just learn about UCM, but also have a little bit of fun. So like virtual trivia nights, any of those kind of things, so that students can still kind of engage with their admissions rep, and gives them an opportunity to meet other students from across the state as well, have a little bit of fun. And so a lot of what we are doing is kind of transitioning into the virtual environment as far as recruitment, for as long as that kind of pans out, because a lot of the high schools are virtual, community colleges, some of them are virtual only, so it makes it difficult to go to their campus to talk to students when there's no students there. So really upping our virtual recruitment event offerings so that we can engage students in more ways, and that allows us to kind of segment that out. So we have like an admitted student virtual option, a transfer student virtual option, students who are underclassmen, so juniors and sophomores, we have virtual visit options for them. So it's allowed us to kind of help give the students more information that's more specific to kind of where they are in either high school, community college, or any of those kind of things.
Do you have any advice for students or parents that are thinking about joining the UCM campus?
Yeah, absolutely. We still are, with the in-person visits, we still highly encourage students to come down to visit campus. That's kind of one of the best ways that it's kind of hard to describe the feeling other than whenever a student walks on campus and they know that that's the place. Like, you just walk on campus and you just feel like, yeah, this is definitely the place that I could spend my time. And so as best as you can, still trying to take those campus visits to come down and visit us. But if not, I mean, our admissions reps are there to help students with questions and any of those kind of things. So even though we're not able to come to the high schools and do those info nights and everything, our staff is still available to help answer any kind of questions. So if anybody does have questions, please, they can feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to answer them.
Where should they go to reach out to you guys?
So they can go to our main email address for the admissions office is admit, A-D-M-I-T, @ucmo.edu. Or they can reach out to me. My name's Chris Lang, and my email address is crlang, L-A-N-G, @ucmo.edu. So they can shoot an email to either one of us, or they can go to the UCM website, and if they search for Find Your Rep on the website, their admissions rep specific contact information comes up with phone number. They can text them, they can shoot them an email, kind of whatever works best for them. If they'd rather call, have a video chat, any of those kind of things.
Is there anything else that you would like to mention that we haven't talked about yet?
Basically everything is kind of on a changing and changing quickly, so we always are trying to come up with new ways, and so we also encourage, high school counselors and everything like that to stay in touch with us so that we can kind of help them, because we work with a lot of students, but a lot of the times we also work with the high school counselors and the academic advisors at the community colleges. So if there's anything that we can do for them, whether that be UCM specific or just anything that our team can do to help them, we also want them to know that they can reach out to us and we can kind of help them out with any of those things.
All right, well, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, no, thank you, absolutely.
Hello, I'm here with Zach Long today to talk about the UCM Museum exhibit. Thanks for joining us, Zach. Can you tell us a little about the current exhibit we have right now?
Yeah, right now we have on the Nance collection. It's a collection of Bedouin, traditional Bedouin items. We've got a lot of household items and a lot of really nice items. We've actually got one of the largest collections of Bedouin stuff outside of Saudi Arabia right now, so it's really cool.
Can you tell us a little bit what Bedouin is?
Yeah, so the Bedouin people are a nomadic people from the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. They're known for having camels. They're a pastoral type people, so they travel with tents and have a lot of very mobile things. So they're very well known for their beautiful artwork and beautiful textiles and stuff. They're master metal workers and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Has anything changed due to COVID?
Yeah, so we've actually been closed down for a while, not open to the public. We've been working with moving things around, getting things set up for this exhibit and future exhibits and things, getting a lot of organization in the back and everything, so.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about upcoming exhibits?
So we actually are going to have the Nance exhibit up for the entire semester, and then we're probably going to end up moving to a worldwide textile exhibit. We have a lot of textiles from all across the world, from the northern United States all the way down to South America, to the Bedouin and Mongolia and that sort of thing too.
Interesting. Can you tell us about what it takes in order to get a museum exhibit set up and prepared?
Yeah, so it takes quite a bit of planning for that. This one was a little bit easier because we've had it on show for a while now. So everything was kind of already set up for us, but in the past it typically takes a couple of months of planning and preparing, of setting everything up and making sure the lighting and everything will look really right, that the text is right.
And what do you do with the past exhibits?
So we actually show a lot of our own stuff that we have. So we've got a pretty wide array of stuff in the back. A lot of our items are donated from previous alumni and things like that. So we try and have large collections on show. The last show that we actually had on was from previous alumni, and it was full of African art and stuff like that. And it was really cool.
Is there a lot of work to do with upkeep?
Yeah, so it's just the three of us employees, and we end up having to do a little bit of everything while we're there. So we get a lot of requests from alumni and from the school for things, special events, on top of our already exhibits and things like that. So we're pretty busy.
Interesting. Tell us when and where we can see these exhibits on display?
Yeah, the museum's located at JCKL Library at 1470. We're open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
So can you tell us a little about your favorite exhibit?
My favorite item that we have there actually is a war club that is also an opium pipe. So that's really cool. It's this big piece of wood that's been carved out, and has multiple pieces to it. It's a really intricate looking pipe. It's got some silver inlay on it. It's really neat.
Interesting. Can you tell us a little about your background in museum work?
Yeah, I graduated here from UCM with a bachelor's in anthropology last winter. I've actually been working as the preparator at the museum now for a year, thereabouts. And before then I worked as a student worker there as well. So I've had quite a bit of time at this museum and had gotten to really know the collections pretty well.
So can you tell us a little bit more about some of your other collections?
Yeah, so we've got quite a few large collections. We've got the Spear collection, which is from an old anthropologist from Colombia. He was actually a mentor of one of our anthropologists here. He's got a really varied collection from all around the world. His parents were both anthropologists as well. So we've got collections from like the Haida up in the northwest coast all the way down to California. That's what his specialty was. We have the Dyer line, which is also Middle Eastern stuff, a lot of Bedouin stuff, household items as well. We have the Roe Miller shell collection, which is a massive collection of marine biology life and that sort of thing.
Can you tell us a little bit about the archives?
Yeah, the archives, the museum is the official repository for all UCM memorabilia, so we deal with the collections and anything that the university would want for alumni reasons or just anything in our past. So we've got all the old photos, all the old maps, anything that you'd really want, we are the people who have that in regards to UCM.
Are the public allowed to see the archives? Or?
Yeah, so we do ask that you call ahead of time. Or that you get in contact with our director, Dr. Amber Clifford. But we can set up a time, and yeah, the public's just allowed to go in there and visit it whenever. We'll have them pulled out for you. We're really good to the public. We've got an area for you to read and everything.
Okay, well, thanks for sitting down with us, Zach.
Of course, it was a nice conversation.
Hello, I'm here with Kaylin Orr to talk about what it's like to be a mule skinner. Kaylin, can you tell us what your role is at the mule skinner?
Basically, I delegate positions to people, projects to people, and then I do out layouts and for templates for the newspaper, and then people give me graphics and their stories, and I put it together. So
interesting. How long do you think it would take for you to do one design? How long does it usually take for you?
It could take a couple hours, so I'd say 3 to 5 hours. It just depends how complicated, because if it's an illustration, you have to hand draw everything, but if it's something that's design related, like you're using Photoshop or Illustrator, you can do that sometimes a little bit faster. It just depends on how detailed either your writer or the assignment you have is what you want to do. You just depends on the time it will, but usually on average it's I'd say 3 to 5 hours.
Do you have a preference over what kind of illustrations you like to do?
I actually don't illustrate. I actually have someone that illustrates for me. So she does a lot of so in our newspaper, she does a lot of illustration for us, and I do more of the design stuff that's more graphic based, so stuff that you can do in Photoshop, Illustrator, and then the stuff in InDesign. So
okay. Yeah. So how long have you been working there?
We got interviewed this summer, and we started doing training in July, and then we started the first day of school.
Okay, so do you know if that's changed? With COVID, has a lot of the workload changed?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily changed in my field, because it's something you can do from home. But something I've realized is you have actually a lot more free time, because sometimes classes, now we're not in classes all the time, that you can, you have the extra time to put your work more into your work than you did before, because you have I have a class that I don't have class Wednesday, Friday, so Wednesday and Friday I have time to work, strictly just work, instead of having to go to class.
So would you say now it's easier to work around your schedule as a student than it would have been before?
Yes, I would say so, because I had another job at one point, and it was a lot harder for me to get my hours in because I only could work to a certain time, but now I have full days. I can actually work almost an 8-hour day if I really wanted to.
Do you get to work with other people, or is it just you individually working at home most of the time?
It's very much collaborative. So what we do is, I have my whole team of designers, and so I work with them, but then we also work with all of our editors and managers, and then sometimes the writers, and we discuss basically what they want for their story, because they might have something in mind that we could think something else for a story, and they were like, well, we really want this graphic to go with it, or this picture or illustration, and then we collaborate with them to figure out a good design for their story, and like kind of make everyone kind of happy kind of situation. So it's not just strictly me making all the decisions. It's like me, my team, and the editors and managers.
What is the best quality you would say to be working there at Emil Skinner?
I would say motivated, because I mean, it takes a lot of work to do and go into it, but it's actually really fun at the same time. So I could be there for multiple hours a day working on one design, but in the end, like, you get this piece of paper, and it's like really fulfilling to have that piece of paper that shows all of your work, and like you can be proud of it, and you know, show that for like also like your portfolios later, and like when you go out for out of college for like jobs and stuff like that.
What would you say the biggest challenge is working there?
The biggest challenge, I guess maybe getting stories. Like sometimes it's hard, like when you're in news, like people are not going to necessarily want to talk to the writers, so then like you can't necessarily always make things change all the time. So you can't expect something to be consistent. Like your design could completely change because a writer had to change their whole story because their interview didn't go the way that they originally thought, or they didn't get the information they exactly needed, so the story's changed. So you always have to be able to like change. So I guess that's like could be a challenging part for people. So it's just, you have to have the mindset that you have to be flexible, basically.
What made you want to work at Emil Skinner?
Basically, I mean, I'd worked in a graphic design job previously, but it's more towards the design I wanted to do. So my major is actually individualized in photography and graphic design, and I wanted to work really with photos. So photography is a big thing in newspaper, and that's a lot of things, but you also get to design with it, which is kind of what my whole major is about. And on the graphic design side, we don't really get a lot of opportunities to work with like paper, like newspapers and stuff like that. So it's like a totally new opportunity for me to learn like a new skill that I could use out in the world, like after I'm done here when I graduate.
Do you have a way that someone could contact you if they wanted to know more about the Emil Skinner?
You can actually stop by our office, which is our newsroom. It's on the 3rd floor in Wood, and if you literally go up to the very top floor, we're right there, and you see a huge sign that says Emil Skinner, and you just walk in the door, and someone's in there. We can talk to you and give you more information.
All right, thank you.
Hello, I'm Hunter Hallbaker here, and I'm with Blake Proctor today to talk about his club, MCA. So Blake, you're the president of the MCA club. When did that happen?
I've been the president for a semester. I know that much, but the transition kind of started way sooner, so I don't have a specific date, to be honest.
Nice. Can you tell us more about that club? And like, what do you guys do?
The Media Creators Association is a group of filmmakers and actors and anybody else who just enjoys the process of filmmaking. And we come together and we work on projects. We do things like the 48-hour film festival. We collaborate with each other on different projects, let it be a class project or something that somebody's working on in their free time. And it's just, a good spot for different people within different majors who all have a common interest to come together.
So that answers one of my questions. I was going to ask you if you had to be like a DMP major, so it's like anybody can join it?
It's predominantly digital media production majors, but we definitely also have a lot of people from different departments. So we have like some art students and some theater majors and stuff that still come and participate. So,
what would you tell somebody who wants to join your club? Like, did this club ever inspire you or anything?
Oh yeah, for sure. The club, I've been a part of the club since my freshman year. I've seen it go through a lot of different changes. I mean, it's still currently evolving, and I don't know, I mean, more forced now because of everything going on, but we're still trying to get to kind of where we were, because I feel like we were at a great point and it kind of started to die off with everything, but hopefully we can get back to that. And I don't know, I just always love the club, great environment, great people, and hopefully we can get something figured out in terms of like meeting up now. And for anybody who's trying to join, we have a Facebook page, the UCM Media Creators Association Facebook page. You can ask to be a part of that Facebook page, and one of the professors or something will let you in, or another member of the group will let you in. And there you can learn about a lot of the different things that'll be going on, possible meeting times that we're trying to figure out and everything. And we also have Instagram, which is Media Creators 2020. And you can follow that, and then we also post stuff there. So yeah, so if you're trying to get a hold of us, that's probably the best way to do it, is social media.
Nice. Did this club ever open up more opportunities for you with film at all?
Definitely a lot of new friends and networking that way. We also had members who go to events and they come back and we kind of network off each other. Recently, well, last semester before everything, we had somebody go to the True False Film Festival, and they came back and they showed us all of the cool stuff that they shot and the people that they worked with, and was letting everybody know that if they wanted to be a part of that, how to, you know, get in contact with the people they would need to get in contact with. So it's a lot of stuff like that that goes on as well too. So
Nice. Well, thank you for being with us today, Blake.
well, thank you.
Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Kylie Dannett. Good night.